I'm Jeff Cary, a Project Geologist for Gold and Predator exploration here at the Brewery Creek project. First time I came to Brewery Creek was 2010 through 2012, and then was back up again last year and took care of the 2019 drilling and then this year's 2020 drilling. Well, as Project Geologist, I wear a lot of hats. You know, my main goal is to plan all of the drilling and execute the drilling, oversee the logging, sample shipments. So there was an exploration influx into the Yukon. They came in, staked claims, did additional sampling, started the program in earnest in 1989. By 1996, they had a production decision, and Brewery Creek by that time had moved through, and the operating company was called Loki Gold, and they operated the mine from 1996 to 2002, and they operated in probably one of the tougher periods. It was declining gold prices. By the time they shut down, gold was sub 300. From 2002 to 2009, there were a couple operators, and in 2009, Gold and Predator acquired the property, and in a deal with Alexco Resources. And then 2010, Gold and Predator started in earnest with large drilling programs. 2010, over those 3 years, they grew the resource base here fivefold. But then again, kind of a soft market and a decreasing gold price in 2013, and problems with permitting. We knew we had an active permit, but the government didn't feel that way at the time, but we really didn't do any work here from 2013 to 2019. 2019, last year in July, the government came out and said that our permits were active, which allowed us to continue to move forward with the project. And last July and August, we came in and continued to drill, had success, and we've put out 2 new resources since. Right now, the 2020 program, we're looking just to finish up one area where we didn't have high enough drill density to model, and that's what we call the Golden Extension. And that extension should allow us to incorporate the Lucky Zone mineralization into our greater keg resource. And the kegs, it's an interesting concept. The 2019 program was focused on trying to extend mineralization to create a much larger pit instead of smaller single pits, and we've been successful in that. And so the drilling that we'll finish up this year should allow us to move the Golden Pit into the Lucky Pit, and the keg will encompass, I think it's a little over 3 kilometers of strike length. We're located in a highly prospective geologic environment. The area that we sit in here is part of the Foreland Fold and Thrust Belt, and to the north of us is, they call it Cratonal North America. To the south of us is an oceanic basin called the Selwyn Basin. And starting about 140 million years ago, the Selwyn Basin was basically moved, they call it thrusting, and brought up onto the edge of the North American Craton. And it was a series of 3 large thrust faults. That deformation went on from 140 million years to about 90 years. The compression and the stacking of those rocks thicken the crust, and then as you thicken the crust, you allow igneous rocks to form. And then those igneous rocks, as they move up to the surface, they're liquid at depth, and as they come up to the surface, they look for plumbing, and those old thrust faults were the plumbing that they came up into. So those rocks were intruded into the zone and then subsequently fractured again. And those secondary fractures then have fluid that comes up that carries gold and arsenic with it. When it was formed, it was probably 3 kilometers under the surface. And then here we are today. The age of the mineralization is probably 90 million years ballpark, and 90 million years later it's exposed at the surface and we explore for it. The work that we're doing this fall, we've got a diamond rig here with Kluane Drilling out of Whitehorse. And they're doing metallurgical work and geotechnical work. So we're drilling PQ core just to get large volume samples for metallurgy. That rock will head down to Reno, Nevada, to McClellan Labs, where they'll do the final column tests on it, which help us determine the leachability of the rock in our final models. And then we've got another series of geotechnical holes that we will drill that will help us with the engineering, and there'll be water monitor wells, and then geotechnical wells where they look at high wall stability. So we'll have monitor wells on both sides of the pit to monitor rock stability and water levels, which allow for engineering. When this RC drilling is finished up, then we'll do a final resource calculation, and then those numbers and data will drive a bankable feasibility, which is in progress right now. And that bankable feasibility, if it's positive, will define how much capital the company needs to raise to initiate the mine, and we will move from there. We're probably going to be pushing 1 million ounces of mineable oxide mineralization, and very few places have a permitted land package where you can come in and it's just a matter of building the mine with capital. I like working for Golden Predator because, for me personally, you can dream and think of ideas and targets, but if you don't have management behind you that finds money to drill those targets, you can't test your hypothesis. And Golden Predator has been committed to doing that type of work up here, and so it's enjoyable to do.